Hey everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to really get the most out of your eyeshadows. I'll be showing you how to go from this to this just based on application technique. So if you want to find out how to make your shadows pop, then just keep watching. The first thing you want to do is to neutralise that lid area and give yourself a nice blank canvas to work on. As you can see, I've foundation everywhere except from lash line to brow bone and I've visible discoloration. You could use a product like this one here from Essence. It's tinted so it cancels out any pigmentation and it gives you a nice even base to start out on. It also preps the eyes for the shadows to come in the sense that it helps them to appear more vibrantly on the eyes, so that's what I'm doing now, and I'm just using a synthetic brush to blend it into the skin. If you don't have a tinted primer, go in with whatever foundation is left on your brush or sponge, use that to even out the skin tone and then apply your colourless primer over top like so and you'll get the same effect. Next, I'm taking a coloured pencil. This one here is NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk, and the white is really going to make the eyeshadows that I apply on top of it stand out. So I start at the lash line, I apply a little, and then I blend upwards because that stops me from over applying the product. You don't have to use white, you could use black or any other colour base depending on what look you're going for. If you use a brown liner as a base and apply the brown eyeshadow on top of it, it'll look much more intense than if the brown eyeshadow was applied alone. I'm going for a very colourful look today, so it made much more sense to go in with the white all over as opposed to many coloured liners. The next thing you want to do is to set your primer and base in place with some powder. A lot of the time I see people prepping the eyes with concealer and then adding their eyeshadows directly on top. Personally, I'm not a fan of using concealer to prep the eyes. It's what I'm actually doing now, and I find by not setting the eye area, the eyeshadows just skip and get choppy and they crease, and I just think it makes applying and blending shadows to the eye so much harder to do. By setting the eye area with a face powder, the eyeshadows will glide across the eye with ease, and because you have a barrier between your shadows and the skin, it'll prevent the natural oils that your skin produces from creeping through and breaking down your shadows during the day. As I mentioned, I'm going with a colourful look today, so just to show you, I'm going to add some pink eyeshadow onto an unprepped lid. So I've no product on there aside from a little concealer just under the brow, and as you can see, despite the shadow being very bright and vibrant in the pan, it's not transferring that way onto the lid, and the eyeshadow in general just isn't blending very well. I've applied the eyeshadow once, the pigmentation isn't there, the blending isn't great, and you can still see my veins and discoloration peeking through the shadow. Comparing that now to a prepped eye, primer and white base are in place. If you've been a follower of my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I always harp on about layering. If you dip into your shadow once, apply it to the eye, you're not going to get anywhere near the same colour payoff compared to if you applied a little, blended, applied some more, blended and repeated that process as you've seen previously. I'm picking up a darker shade now and adding that in the same way, and I do it this way because first of all I've more control over the eyeshadow. It's a win-win situation really. By picking up a small amount at a time and applying it, you're much more likely to get a better blend, and then as well as that, by layering the shadows, it's going to help them to appear visibly brighter. Moving back now to the unprepped side, I'm adding that same purple shadow into the deepest part of my crease, applying the eyeshadow just the once, and as you can see, it's barely visible. Application technique is important too, along with the type of brush you use. Generally, I find the more dense the brush, the more product it'll pick up, therefore the more product it'll apply, whereas fluffier brushes will pick up less product, making them better for blending as opposed to applying shadow, and that's why I'm using now a flat C-shaped brush to pack that yellow eyeshadow onto the lid area. You want to use patting motions to really press the eyeshadow onto the lid. By patting the shadow onto your lid, you're going to get a more rich, more intense colour payoff because you're concentrating the eyeshadow in one area at a time. So what I'm doing now is just lightly pressing that orange eyeshadow onto the centre of my lid, and then I'm going to go back in with a little more of that pink eyeshadow and pat it down on the outer third of the eye, and as you can see, the colour payoff is absolutely fantastic. What you don't want to do is to go in with sweeping motions. If you use sweeping motions, it's going to shear out the shadow, as you can see. You won't be getting the most out of your eyeshadows by applying them in this way, so be sure to pat, pat, pat. Another way to get the most out of your shadows is to apply them wet. Now, I generally do this with satin or metallic shadows to make the shimmer particles pop even more. What I do is pick up some shadow on my brush, spray it with water. You could use a setting spray either, whichever you have to hand, and then I apply the shadow to the eye area. I also find when the shadow is slightly damp, it reduces the chance of fallout too, which is handy if you've already got your foundation done like I have here. Now I'm just applying those two blue eyeshadows in the exact same way as I've done previously, but this time I'm not wetting the shadows, I'm applying them to the eye area dry, and as you can see the eyeshadows are much more muted. That sparkle isn't really picking up at all. Next then, I'm taking this matte white eyeshadow and I'm placing it under the brow bone to brighten up that area. And then I'm taking NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk again and I'm lining the waterline, and I just find the contrast really makes those eyeshadows pop. Finally then, I'm adding some lashes and then that's it. So I definitely find incorporating these tips and tricks into your routine will make a massive difference to how your eye makeup looks. I hope you found the tutorial helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe, and I'll chat to you all soon.